The thing about today's world is, well, the pace of change means that being well-informed isn't some destination you arrive at. It's a constantly moving target.
It really is.
And our whole mission here on the Deep Dive is to give you that shortcut, the essential knowledge sort of distilled from all the noise.
Right.
Today, we're looking at a single source. It's a really detailed look at one person's perspective on personal growth, educational strategy. It's actually drawn from a speaking test transcript.
And it's a remarkable window. I mean, what seems like a simple Q&A, it actually captures so many of the prevailing anxieties and priorities around skill development today.
Exactly. So we're not just analyzing one person's answers.
No, we're using this as a snapshot to define really the strategic focus for learning and adapting in this really competitive world.
And we're going to use this source to unpack 3 critical areas for you. First, the personal skills people want most, and the surprisingly strategic approach you need to get them. Second, we'll scale up to the societal level. What are the essential skills demanded by the digital age? And how is technology just fundamentally changing how we meet that demand?
And then the big one.
And then the big one. Finally, we'll dive into the critique of the system itself, that ongoing debate between academic knowledge versus, practical application in schools and in the workplace.
But before we get to all that, the macro view, the source, introduces us to our subject, Jatin, through a small but I think really important detail.
Yeah, he currently lives in an apartment in a busy area, and he says it's mainly for the convenience.
The convenience.
Everything's right there. That accessibility is his reality right now. But when he looks to the future, he has this very distinct desire to move to a quieter place, possibly near nature.
And that tension is the perfect metaphor for this entire deep dive, isn't it?
How so?
It's that constant choice between the ease and, the familiarity of where you are now, the convenient, digitally accessible life, versus making a deliberate choice to seek out a quieter, maybe more challenging environment where true, focused growth can actually happen.
Okay, let's unpack this. Just like Jat seeking that future quiet, we're seeking clarity amidst all the noise of information.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. His core personal goal, mastering public speaking.
And what struck me here wasn't the goal itself. I mean, that's classic personal development, right?
Sure.
It was the honest motivation behind it. He doesn't just say, oh, it'll look good on my resume. He says he wants this skill because he often feels nervous when speaking in front of a large audience.
That honesty is key. It roots the whole thing in a real, genuine need, both emotional and professional.
Exactly.
And the utility he sees in it is just immense. For him, mastering this one skill is foundational. It's the key to expressing ideas clearly, performing better in interviews, succeeding in his career.
And just overall confidence. It's the ultimate leverage skill.
It is. But the most insightful part, for me, was the roadmap he laid out for learning it. It's not just, I'll practice more. It's like a sophisticated learning strategy.
It's almost like a corporate training curriculum.
Totally. He starts with formal learning, so attending workshops. Then he moves to passive observation, watching experienced speakers online.
Then the active practice kicks in.
Right, but it's controlled. He talks about practicing regularly with friends or small groups. And then finally, the deliberate exposure, joining a speaking club, where the stakes are a bit higher, but it's still a safe space.
This raises an important question. What's fascinating here is that blend. It's a sophisticated mix of, consuming content for the theory and then intentionally seeking out these challenging social environments to apply it.
And refine it. Yeah.
He recognizes right off the bat that public speaking is an inherently high-friction in-person skill, even if you can learn the theory online.
He's basically acknowledging that convenience only gets you so far. You can sit in your apartment and watch 1,000 TED Talks, but you still need that quiet, challenging space, that near-nature zone, to actually stand up and speak. It requires deliberate discomfort.
And that idea, that transition from personal discomfort to growth, leads us perfectly into the broader societal view. If Jatin is working on public speaking, what are the bigger skills that are seen as critical for young people today?
Well, the source identified 3 non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And this is essential knowledge for any learner out there. They are communication skills,
Okay.
digital skills, and problem-solving abilities.
And this list, it's so powerful because it's not just theory. It confirms what you hear from industry leaders all the time about the biggest gaps in new hires.
Right. And communication skills here isn't just about speaking well. It's about clarity, emotional intelligence, collaboration, especially in a remote world.
Absolutely. And let's not just gloss over digital skills. For you listening, that is not just knowing how to use a laptop anymore.
Not at all.
It means data hygiene, picking up new software quickly, a basic grasp of cloud systems, and maybe most critically, information validation. Knowing which of the 1,000 online sources you can actually trust.
That's the real shift. And then that third pillar, problem solving. This is all about moving beyond just memorizing facts into, structured thinking,
Yeah.
managing ambiguity.
Thinking on your feet when the standard procedure fails, it's the ability to pivot under pressure, which is becoming more and more valuable as automation takes over routine stuff.
And crucially, the source stressed the lifelong imperative here. The consensus is that learning new skills is important at every age, not just for your career in your 20s.
No, it's because it keeps people mentally active, engaged, and it helps them adapt to all the changes life throws at them. The market demands you adapt, and, well, your brain demands you stay engaged.
And this is where we see the undeniable impact of technology.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the democratization of learning through tech directly addresses that need for constant adaptation we were just talking about. Technology has made learning easier and faster.
It's removed a massive amount of friction. The source points out that people are using online videos, courses, mobile apps. You can learn from anywhere.
Think about it. Niche expertise used to be locked behind, university departments or expensive conference tickets?
Exactly. Now a world-class expert on, microlending in Southeast Asia can be accessed instantly on a learning platform.
That speed of access is revolutionary. But does that convenience, that speed, does it compromise deeper learning? We might learn faster, but are we learning deeper?
That's a critical point the material brings up, even if implicitly. The convenience of tech, the sheer volume of content, it creates its own kind of friction, information overload.
Right.
You might find 10 courses on problem solving, but figuring out which method is sound, which teacher is actually qualified, that's a new challenge. It forces the learner to become an effective curator of information.
Precisely. Technology removes the geographic barriers, but it absolutely heightens the need for discernment. And this whole issue of access leads us right into the debate over what kind of knowledge we prioritize in the first place.
Which brings us smoothly into Section 3, the critique of traditional education and workplace roles that's embedded in the source material. There's a clear recommendation that schools need to find a better balance.
Yeah, the subject argued that schools have to balance academic knowledge with practical skills. The focus has to shift from just, retrieving historical facts to more experiential learning, applied knowledge.
It's a difference between studying the history of carpentry for a year versus spending a semester actually building something.
A very real something.
If all you have is theory, you can explain why a bridge fell down. But if you lack practical skills, the next bridge you build isn't necessarily going to stand up, even if you aced the physics exam.
And this demand for practicality, it feeds into another point that was raised. What about traditional skills, the ones that are becoming less common?
The source tackles this. It acknowledges that some skills like, say, complex manual arithmetic or formal handwriting are becoming less common.
But it makes a crucial distinction.
It does. It says they still hold immense cultural and historical value. We don't need to use them every day, but understanding the discipline behind them enriches our understanding of modern methods. It gives context to the convenience we have now.
You don't throw away the map just because you use GPS.
Exactly. You understand the territory better.
Now, shifting to the professional world, the source also gave some really specific insights into employer strategy, how organizations can actually motivate their employees to learn new skills. This moves it from being a personal burden to a shared value.
And here's where it gets really interesting for anyone listening who manages a team. The old model was employees are responsible for their own development. Full stop.
Right. Good luck.
This new perspective says employers have to take an active, structured role by offering formal training programs, providing clear incentives, money or time, and explicitly creating paths for career growth that are tied to that new knowledge.
It completely flips the script because it solves a fundamental problem. Why would an employee invest their own time and money to learn something new if their company doesn't clearly value it or offer a path for promotion?
The incentivization is the driver.
Absolutely. If the organization commits the resources and shows a clear path forward, the employees will commit the time and effort.
But wait, doesn't that inherently limit development to only the skills the employer thinks are relevant? What if Jatin, at his company, finds fulfillment in some tangential skill that isn't on the official training list.
And that's the balance the material encourages. The employer has to create the conditions for growth, the time, the incentives, but the employee still has agency over the direction of that growth as long as it aligns broadly with adaptation. You're fostering a culture of curiosity, not just compliance.
This dedication to practicality, to making skills usable, it brings us back full circle. It comes back to the final, crucial distinction raised in the source, where you choose to learn. It ties together the convenience of technology and the need for real-world application.
We have to look at the effectiveness of online versus face-to-face learning, and the verdict is, well, it's nuanced, which is what you'd expect. It's not a contest. It's a strategic choice.
And the source was very clear on this. It said online learning is highly effective for theory.
For theory, lectures, foundational concepts, document review, watching how something is done, the why and the how to think about it.
But conversely, face-to-face learning is seen as significantly better for practical skills and for personal interaction.
Yes, if the skill requires complex motor functions or immediate hands-on feedback or that dynamic back and forth between people, you need to be in a physical, high-friction environment.
And the value of being physically present isn't just about being in the same room. It's about the speed and the quality of the feedback loop. When Jatin practices in a speaking club, he gets instant, nonverbal cues.
The audience's body language.
Their body language, their laughter, their distraction. No online algorithm can fully replicate that. That subtle interaction is absolutely critical for mastering a skill like communication.
It's the difference between learning the rules of chess and actually sitting across from a human opponent. The physical setting forces real-time adaptation. It forces you to master the nuance.
So we pull this all together. We realize Jatin's plan to learn public speaking, the one we talked about at the very start, it perfectly illustrates this hybrid strategy.
It does.
He plans to use online resources for the observation and the theory. That's the convenient digital access. And he plans to join a club and go to workshops for the practical face-to-face application.
It means the modern learner, to be truly effective, has to adopt a tailored, hybrid approach. You maximize convenience for the theory, but you intentionally seek out challenging in-person environments for the application and the mastery.
The convenience of the apartment is great for theory. The quiet challenge near nature is essential for practice.
Well said.
So what does this all mean for you? It means that learning, well, it's not optional. It's an essential, lifelong adaptation strategy. Communication, digital proficiency, and problem solving are the pillars of success today. And most critically, the best learning strategy isn't purely online or purely in person. It's always a combination of the two.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought. While the sources highlight the necessity of using technology for speed and convenience, that comfortable apartment, the true measure of skill mastery, especially in things like public speaking or leadership, relies on seeking out the intentional friction of face-to-face interaction. We have to actively move past the digital ease to find that challenging, quieter place, metaphorically speaking, where sustained, complex growth truly happens.
A compelling balance to strike. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.